The crowd continues to file in here at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. It's day 3 of competition at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Annie Sakamoto and Chase Ingram. We just watched the women go through the sprint triplet. The men are up next. What are your takeaways from that last event?
Well, you know, we've talked about that this weekend being almost more of a mental test than a physical test in a lot of ways. And of course, there's Tia-Clair Toomey. She had Kristen Holta kind of breathing down her neck. She only had a 5-point lead on Kristen Holta going into that event. In typical Tia dominant fashion, she just took that event. And I think we can see kind of the back-to-back champion side of Tia that we've been waiting to see all weekend. She had that little stumble on the pegboard early on, but once she got that out of the way, she was just so smooth and so even all the way through that entire event, and just proved to us why she still has that white leader jersey on, and I think why she could wear it for the rest of the weekend.
Meanwhile, Katrin Davidsdottir got into 9th place 2 events ago, has now moved up 4 more spots.
Currently sitting 5th overall, so Katrin Davidsdottir, who had the ability, and we know that, and this is definitely one of those events for Katrin to bounce back in a big way, because it's going to challenge some of those athletes who aren't ready to be, I would say, in the top 10 in the final cut, when the pressure is at the most highest of stakes. And Katrin Davidsdottir stepped up to the challenge, got 3rd in the previous event, and that bumped her up to 5th, and now she's only 80 points away from a podium position. And depending on how things go, that can happen in a single event. If she gets 1st and they get 8th, it's gone. That's all it takes. And with, I don't know how many events are coming up next, but or on the weekend, but we have a lot of chances for her to move back up in the podium.
Have an 80-point lead, and it's gone. That's what exactly can happen here in just a single event. Let's take a look now at the men's overall standings as they get set to take on event number 7. Noah Olson is your overall leader, just 1 point shy of 500. Matt Fraser, 65 back of him. Scott Panchik is in 3rd. He is 9 points back of Matt Fraser for 2nd. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, Will Morad, and Matt McLeod all over 400 points and all very much within striking distance. The athletes who did not make the cut, spots 11 through 20. Cole Sager, not in the competition, just misses out. Travis Mayer, Chandler Smith, Pat Vellner, and Lucas Hogberg, 2 of the 3 men on the podium last year, did not make the cut. But Cole Sager has always performed well when his back is against the wall, but just could not get enough done here in event number 6.
Well, he was 11th coming into the day, and he finished in 11th coming out of event number 7, and he actually did well. He took 8th in event number 7. The problem was it wasn't Cole Sager. It was actually Saxon Panchik, who was below Sager on the overall standings, but he comes out and wins event number 7. And with the point scale so different coming down to 20, is that it actually, Sager closed the gap, but with Saxon finishing and winning the event, that kept Sager out of the top 10.
Let's talk about Will Morad. He's a guy that I don't think you would have had pegged to be inside the top 10 here, but when you look back at his body of work and what he has done in the past of the games and what the expectations were, maybe it isn't that big of a surprise.
Right, I mean, this is his 2nd games appearance, but the big thing is that we haven't seen him since 2014. He currently sits in 5th place. You know, the reason I think we didn't see him for a couple of years there is he had a fractured rib and some other unfortunate health issues. He looked great coming into this season, coming into the games. He went to 3 sanctionals. He got 3rd at the Mid-Atlantic, 3rd at the Reykjavik CrossFit Championships, and then most importantly, won the Brazil Championships, which brought him here. He didn't have a fantastic start to the weekend. He had a 14th, a 46th, and a 25th on the first 3 events. But what's really impressive is then he followed that up with a 3rd on yesterday's sprint, a 7th on yesterday's Mary, and a 5th on today's sprint event. So the fact that he's put himself in a really good position after not having seen him for a few years is looking good.
Same event that the women took on. Weight's going to get a little bit heavier. Who do you like here in event number 7 for the men, Annie?
I'm going to have to go with Scott Panchik. So if we look at even just this weekend at a glance, right, he got third on event one, which involved a lot of upper body pulling, a lot of grip. We could say he got fourth on Mary. Again, a lot of upper body pulling, stamina. He's only 9 points back from Matt Fraser right now. He's a games veteran. I think he can handle the mental pressure besides the physical endurance that he needs for this weekend.
How about you, Chase?
Noah Olson has a 65-point lead on Matt Fraser right now. I'm looking at Noah Olsen to see if he can handle the pressure. And the big part of that to me is that every year a CrossFit Games champion has their moment in the Coliseum that defines their weekend. I want to know if last night's Mary was Noah Olsen's moment to step into the limelight, not just on the podium for the first time, but maybe in that first place position. And the way he handled the sprints this morning with all the pressure in the world, that leader's jersey is like the ring of Sauron holding around your neck and just slowly chipping away at you. And I want to see in this event that we just saw Tia come out and destroy the field. You know Matt is coming. You know Matt is coming strong, and he's coming fiercely for you right now. I want to see what Noah Olsen does with Matt Fraser in this event.
I mean, you mentioned the overall lead that Noah Olsen has right now. It's basically 65 points. So if Fraser wins that event and Olsen finishes 8th, gone. Fraser's your new leader. So there's these numbers that we're used to throwing out. We're used to seeing them in a certain way. 65 points, that was a lead that you'd have to erase over a number of events, but now the possibility is that it is gone after one event.
It's the first time we've seen the leaderboard and the scoring system as an element of competition at the CrossFit Games.
It's going to be interesting to see how Noah Olsen now handles the pressure. He held off Matt Fraser in the last event in the sprint. He's going to be right next to him once again here in this upcoming event, the sprint triplet. Noah Olsen won the last time he was in the Coliseum, and we can see if he can repeat that effort here in event 7 as the men who remain in the competition are being introduced, as we will check in with the CrossFit World feed that they are providing. Saxon Panchik, one of 2 Panchik brothers in this final group of 10. James Newberry also guaranteed a career best finish at the CrossFit Games. His prior career best finish, 18th overall. He's going to finish inside the top 10.
I mean, that's got to be a good feeling for someone like Newberry, and a lot of these guys that maybe aren't, you know, in contention for the top 3 in the podium spot with a lot more turmoil and tension. But you know, a lot of these guys who've been outside the top 15 or even 20 in their career, sitting in the top 10. I mean, it's playing with house money for the next few days.
Well, and although the points can go up and down a lot, at least these 10 are not facing cuts anymore. So
right,
they can,
I was just going to mention that,
They can take that off of their shoulders. They can ride the ups and downs, I think, a little bit easier through the rest of the events.
I mean, Chase, look, there's still plenty of pressure here in this moment. But, as Annie said, there are no more cuts. Now you can just focus on the task at hand. You know, you've been in this situation out on the floor at the CrossFit Games. What's that like?
It's immense, and it just depends on how you handled it. And I think a lot of that is going to come with experience. So your veteran guys have been in positions like this before, but now the cut's no longer looming. So you have that, it's almost like your safety net is back in terms of the competition for the weekend. So you can let go of a certain stress and just go out there and compete against the field that you're against.
There is your overall leader, Noah Olsen, 499 points, his first career event win at the CrossFit Games last night in Mary, and he leads Matt Fraser by 65. 5 rounds in the split triplet, pegboard, double unders, then 10 single arm dumbbell hang split snatches, 10 single arm dumbbell hang clean and split jerks, 80 pounds here for the men.
I think this is a great event to pit your first and second place men against each other. When you look at this event and who you think will do well, Matt Fraser, obviously off the page. Noah Olsen's another one. You say he got a perfect event last night in Mary to set him up. You still got to take advantage of the opportunities that you're given. For this one to hold on to a first place position against the man on his right, the 3-time fittest man on earth, Matt Fraser, who he knows is going to come out strong in this event. I'm so excited to see how Noah handles this moment.
We are underway. Adrian Moonweiler, 10th place overall. Not a name you would have expected to see at this point of the competition, but has played his cards right. And here he is for the remainder of the competition. Again, both pegs need to get to the top, and then both pegs need to get below that red line for the rep count. Noah Olsen, Matt Fraser, and Jorgen Gudmundsson got off the wall at the same time. Jacob Hepner closest to the camera. Now they're on to their 100 double unders. There are 22 scored repetitions in each round. They will get credit for just 1 rep once they complete the double under. So at 22, that will signify the end of round 1. First of 5 rounds here in event 7.
You're looking at the first round. Since there's 5 of them, it's kind of a feeler round. You don't need to go fast. Nobody in here is going to win the event in the first round. And you don't have to be cautious either, right? You can just climb the pegboard, do 100 double unders, find your rhythm on the snatch, know what that dumbbell is going to feel like when you transfer from snatch to clean and jerk, get used to that split and that alternating pull. So this first round's a feeler round for a lot of these athletes.
I feel like with dumbbells, they're a movement where rhythm really can help you out. And that's one of those things where the more rounds you do, in a lot of ways, the better a dumbbell feels.
Matt Fraser in the green and Noah Olson in the red shorts. First 2 men onto their hang split snatches at 80 pounds. Remember, you have to put the opposite leg forward from the arm with which you're lifting. You lift with your right hand, your left leg has to go forward and vice versa.
It is so weird seeing Matt in a jersey that isn't white.
Yeah, it's taking some getting used to. No rep for Fraser on his first hang split clean and jerk. So Fraser and Olson and Bjorgvin Gudmundsson on the right. They are your leaders. Matt McLeod and Jacob Hepner are fighting for 4th place in the heat, but we are early, just the first of 5 rounds here. Fraser through 17, now 18 of the 22 reps in this opening round. Olson 1 rep back. $80 pounds on the dumbbell for the men. And Fraser and Olson dead even through 1. We move on to round number 2.
Hey, first feeler round is done. Now it's starting to get into your pace and start chipping away at this event. Was that first pegboard easy? How'd you feel coming to the rope? What pace were you holding through the double unders? Could you push the dumbbells a little bit quicker? Now it's time to test some things in the next 2 rounds.
Matt Fraser done first with his second of 5 pegboard climbs, and now he is on to his second round of 100 double unders. 22 more scored repetitions in this round. 44 will signify the end. The leader's name is highlighted in a blue box at the top of your screen, and the number in the white box will signify how many repetitions that man has completed. Jacob Hepner in lane 1, he is back for his second pegboard ascent as he begins round 2. Now James Newberry returning to start round 2. These are your leaders, Matt Fraser in the middle, Noah Olson on the left and second, and Bjorgvin Gudmundsson on the right.
The thing with double unders in the middle of this triplet is that this is your time to kind of think about your game plan coming into the dumbbells. No one's going to come to the middle part of this 100 double unders and try to beat everybody. And often when you try to do that, you trip up a few times and you do the exact opposite of what you wanted to try to do. When you get to the double unders, it's just stay consistent, maybe bring the heart rate down a little bit and move on to the dumbbell.
Matt Fraser done with his second set of double unders first. He is slightly ahead of Noah Olson as Olson will now join Fraser on the 80-pound dumbbell hang snatches.
The thing I like what Matt's doing on the right side of your screen is that he's bringing the dumbbell down to the shoulder and then going into the hang. We talked about grip stamina earlier as being an issue. If you came straight down from the top, it's going to put a tremendous amount of stress on your grip and your shoulders being able to stabilize that in. So you've seen some guys go straight down to the ground. You can see Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson actually doing that on the right side of your screen. It's a very smart move by Matt Fraser to save his grip.
Fraser now on to the 10 hang dumbbell clean and jerks. Now, even though Fraser's beating Olson right now, if Olson stays close, he minimizes the damage. If they finish right next to each other, all Fraser can pick up is 10 points.
And that's a good feeling for Noah. Is like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Getting second to Matt Fraser. Well, I think you're in a pretty good position. A lot of people have been second to Matt Fraser. And what you want to see is that it is only 10 points. It's good for Noah, but 10 points, 10 points, 10
Starts
points.
to add up.
Starts to add up. And now you start putting the pressure on perfection on some of these athletes. Because if Matt is going to go on a charge collecting first places again, the demand and the stress on those other athletes becomes greater.
And the charge might be starting now as Matt Fraser walking back to the pegboard to start round number 3. Here comes Noah Olsen solidly in second place, and Bjorgvin Gudmundsson continues in third. But Matt Fraser, hard work pays off is his motto, and he's going to have to put a lot of that in here over the next events in order to catch Noah Olsen. So Fraser, that is not the jersey he wants anyway, so he's not going to wear it anymore. Jacob Hepner, James Newberry, and Scott Panchik in that group of men who are now just finishing up round number 2. We are on to round number 3. 66, the magic number in the scoreboard that they need to hit before they will move on to round number 4. Olsen on the left, Fraser on the right. Noah Olsen coming into this event with 499 points, 65 up on Fraser.
Here's what I want to see from Noah Olsen. I didn't say you had to win the event to have a great event here. I want to see how you handle the pressure of the event. This is going to be an imperative moment for Noah Olsen. If Matt is going to be great at this event, don't try to beat him.
Right.
Try to beat everybody else trying to beat him. And what we've seen from Noah in the past is that he's tried to win events he has no business trying to win, and he ends up blowing it up. We saw it a couple years ago on the rope climb, the 2-2-2-3.
Yes.
Right? Pacing yourself out. You're great at all of those things, but you put yourself at a disadvantage by going too hard. Maybe let Matt just take this one. The kid second, take the 10-point loss and move on to the next event.
Matt Fraser now starting to pull away from Noah Olsen. This is round 3, 10 more hang dumbbell split snatches for Fraser. Now Olsen has had a few trips here on the double unders, and he's done. Bjorgvin Gudmundsson, bottom left of your screen, trying to gain some ground as Matt McLeod in lane 8 and Scott Panchik in lane 4 are now beginning round number 3.
And this is great proof. You know, Scott Panchik actually, I think, missed his first pegboard rep in that first round, but he's made up ground by just being consistent through the rest of the rounds, now sitting in about 4th place behind Fraser.
Fraser with 10 reps to go here in round 3. It's the dumbbell hang split clean and jerk. He didn't split at that point. Now this is where you really have to keep your head about you and make sure that you're doing the movement correctly and not just quickly.
And it just takes a lot of focus, and the problem with focus is that as you get more fatigue, it becomes harder and harder because all they want to do is just push the pace.
Right, you rely on habit.
He can do it, but when you throw that little wrinkle that has no effect on the movement itself other than tricking you, that's where athletes got to really focus on what they're doing.
Noah Olsen still in second place, but has now fallen back into third is Bjorgvin Gudmundsson on the right of your screen, and this is good for Fraser. Fraser needs a lot of people, as many people as possible, to get between himself and Noah Olsen so he can gain as many points as possible and cut into Olsen's lead. Fraser going back now to begin round number 4. Fraser threw 66 of the 110 total repetitions in this event. Scored repetitions, I should say, as the 100 double unders count for just 1 rep on the scoreboard.
You know, Sean, we just saw Noah Olsen finishing up his clean and jerks. He actually hasn't lost too much ground, but I think he just needs to start focusing more of his attention on BKG than he does Matt Fraser. It's okay to lose 10 in one event, but it's so easy to lose another 20 in total if Bjorgvin Karl catches up to him if he's not paying attention.
Noah Olsen's rep counter has stopped ticking, but he is in second place. He's on the right of your screen. He's making his way up the pegboard. He is behind Matt Fraser for second place. Fraser is on to his 4th round of 100 double unders, right middle of your screen in the dark blue shorts.
And Noah Olsen isn't completely out of it. I'm not saying he's going to get second because we still have 2 more rounds to go and a lot of work left on the table. And that Fraser has missed a few double unders. He got a couple of no reps on the dumbbell. If Noah can clean up his next 2 rounds, he can casually put himself back into contention against Matt Fraser.
Noah Olsen, just stay close to Matt Fraser and then minimize the damage. Olsen is in second, Fraser is in first, and Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson closest to the camera in the maroon tank top. He is in third, and Gudmundsson is ahead of Scott Panchik, the man directly in front of him in the overall standing. So Gudmundsson looking to vault into third place as Matt Fraser is now done with his 4th round of double unders, and he moves on to the dumbbell, the 80-pound dumbbell, 10 hang split snatches. Noah Olsen in the back in the red shorts. He's breaking up his double unders, as is Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson. Olsen back to work. Fraser finishing up his set of 10 hang dumbbell snatches. And now moving on to the hang dumbbell split clean and jerks. Here comes Noah Olsen. But Matt Fraser has built a pretty good lead on the overall leader, Noah Olsen. Olsen coming into the event with a 65-point cushion over Fraser. That will shrink here if this holds. Another no rep for Matt Fraser, as Olsen is on his first dumbbell movement, the hang split snatches. Fraser is on his second, the hang dumbbell clean and split jerks. Jacob Hepner and James Newberry, they have just begun round 4. They are falling off the pace. Fraser getting set to close out round number 4. 88 reps. And then it's one final trip back to the pegboard. Olsen going to the chalk. Fraser done with round 4 and on to his 5th and final round as he works his way back to the pegboard. Noah Olsen stays in second, but he and Bjorgvin Gudmundsson, it's getting tighter here.
And Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson on the right side of your screen picked it up ahead of Noah, so Noah lost that lead that he had on BKG, that first start of the clean and jerks.
This is good news for Fraser. If Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson can get ahead of Olsen, that means that Fraser can pick up 20 points as opposed to just 10 on Noah Olsen. Fraser, this is his 5th and final trip up and down the pegboard. Fraser's done, and now on to the double unders. Olsen is done with round 4, so he stays in second place ahead of Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson. And Gudmundsson finishing up his hang dumbbell clean and split jerks.
It's because Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson took a break halfway through, so after 5 reps, he actually put the dumbbell down and had to rest in that set of 10.
No rep for Gudmundsson now, as his footwork wasn't where the judge wanted it to be, as Matt Fraser alone in first place. And looking to inch closer to Noah Olsen in the overall standings. Olsen, his 5th and final pegboard climb. And now Olsen slips.
Don't
Huge
go
misrep.
back up right away, please.
But for Olsen now, remember, there are no other heats. So Fraser can win. If Olsen stays where he is, he's only going to surrender 10 points, but Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson is back on the pegboard. He's in lane 7, so Gudmundsson has now overtaken Olsen for second place. That helps Fraser. Gudmundsson done. He's on to the double unders. Fraser's finished with his double unders in this 5th and final round. He will now move to the dumbbell, and here comes Noah Olsen back to the jump rope.
Now, can Noah stay calm after he essentially did an entire pegboard and missed the last peg at the bottom? Can you stay calm enough to get yourself back into position?
It's what we've talked about all weekend, Chase. It's those little tiny mistakes that end up costing you a ton. I mean, like you said, it was the very last hole of that pegboard that Olsen missed. Considering that
those little mistakes
exactly
at this point in time of the competition, with how much is riding on the line for each single position and place finish.
And even just the energy that goes into a pegboard. You miss a clean and jerk, it's not that bad. You miss an entire pegboard rep, that's a lot more effort to get back up.
Matt Fraser is done with his hang split snatches. In the background, in the red shorts, it's Noah Olsen. He's on his double unders. Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson on his. Gudmundsson had taken a sizable break, and Olsen kept going. But now Gudmundsson is done, and he will move to the dumbbell. So Gudmundsson now in second place. Fraser with 10 reps to go. Here comes Bjorgvin Gudmundsson. Noah Olsen making his way back to the dumbbell. Matt Fraser will be making his way to the finish line in just 5 more reps.
It's that braking by Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson that could cost him this second place finish.
2 reps to go for Fraser. He's back. Matt Fraser wins event 7. Noah Olson now trying just to surrender only 20 points to Fraser. Gudmundsson on the right is ahead of him. Here comes Noah Olson. They're dead even with 10 reps to go.
Noah Olson in the final set went unbroken for the set of 10, where Bjorkgren Carl Gudmundsson has already broken his first set of snatches. BKG has to hold on if he wants to beat Noah.
So far, both athletes are about even. Olson may have now just overtaken Bjorkgren Gudmundsson by about half a rep, and now Olson continuing to work. 3 reps to go for Noah Olson. He has moved ahead of Bjorkgren Gudmundsson. 1 rep for Olson. Olson is done, and he will finish second.
So impressive by Noah Olson to miss that pegboard, but still come back and retake that second place position.
Bjorkgren Gudmundsson takes 3rd. That's good for 80 points. Now Gudmundsson came in 4th place overall, only 7 back of Panchik. So Gudmundsson is going to move up. He's going to move into the top 3 because of that. Jacob Hepner and James Newberry getting set to finish up their events. Jacob Hepner is in, he takes 4th. Meanwhile, James Newberry is finished up, he is in.
That'll be a great move for both James Newberry, who is sitting in 7th place, and Scott Panchik sitting in 9th place. Should really help both those gentlemen out as well.
We still have Panchik and Morad. Panchik's on the right, Morad's on the left. Now Panchik,
I think
if he finishes ahead of Morad, which it looks like he's going to.
Round 4?
Yeah.
He is in round 4. If Panchik finishes ahead of Morad, Panchik probably stays inside the top 5. Less than 2 minutes to go before we hit the 20-minute time cap. That is Matt McLeod. He's trying to finish up round number 5. He is on his hang, clean, and split jerks. Five men have finished. 5 men remain on the floor. Matt Fraser, the top time, at 15:36. Scott Panchik is in. Panchik will take 6th. Good for 50 points. Now here comes Matt McLeod.
I mean, all of these finishes are great for Jacob Hepner. Hepner is sitting in 9th coming into this, and he finished in a top 4 position in this event. Might see a kind of a similar situation like Katrin Davis' daughter in the previous heat for the women.
But don't get attached to any of the leaderboards after any event, because they're probably going to change every time we step out onto the competition
The
floor.
11th athletes in event 7, the leaderboard, the scoring system.
That's Adrian Moonweiler. 10 seconds to go. And that'll do it, as just 3 men can't complete all the work inside the 20-minute time cap. Matt Fraser gets his 3rd win of the competition, but Noah Olson does enough to minimize the damage, but Fraser will creep closer to the man who's wearing the jersey that he wants.
And he wants, and he's worked for, he's back in, and he gets a 1st place finish. We knew this was going to happen from Matt Fraser. He was going to come out strong. He was going to come out aggressively. He stayed nice and smooth on the double unders. And once he moved through there, he started to actually take look like breaks. Noah Olsen, who came in with that 65-point lead on Matt Fraser, had that one stumble, and me myself, I was like, this is your moment to fix things.
Yes.
Because usually that is where Noah Olsen crumbles and kind of snowballs into a negative headspace. But Matt Fraser takes the win, but I really loved seeing how Noah responded to that to happen at the very end, trying to chase first, lose that position, and move back ahead of BKG.
Matt Fraser back where we're used to seeing him in front of the pack in an event.
Matt, we're not used to seeing you come out here without that white leader's jersey. How much does that fire you up to get out here and push to dominate an event?
You know, it was a really disappointing morning, so I came out here. I was going to try to win it, whether it meant I crashed and burned in the process. I don't care. I'm going for it.
Did you crash and burn, or did it go the way that you wanted it to go? Did you crash and burn, or did you approach it in a way that you were able to maintain?
Oh no, I had no idea if I could hold the pace, but didn't care. I'm going for the wins.
One more event in here for you tonight. It's a clean. Weightlifting is your bread and butter. You're going to push to win that one as well?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing better than lifting in the Coliseum. We're going one at a time, so this crowd's going to get fucking crazy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell him
To
that
the
you're
rest
a really
of the
good
field
singer.
saying he is going for the wins, and the next event has been announced. It's a lifting event. We're going to get more into that
No,
here
I
in a
wouldn't
little
believe
bit. But like
that.
you said, only one guy is going to be out on this floor at the same time. Here are your results. Your top 5, Matt Fraser followed by Noah Olsen, Jordan Gumitson looking to punch into the top 3, Jacob Hepner finishes in 4th, and it's James Newbury in 5th. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll be back at 2:45
Yeah.
to continue our
Oh my
coverage
gosh.
of the 2019
Wes, this is fantastic.
Reebok CrossFit Games here on the Rogue Iron Games.